Okay, guys. We start. I'll be right back in the room. When do I start? Just now? Just now? Or just okay.
Good morning. And just okay. Or like, good morning, thank you for coming. Just wait till it's
Just now? Now? Good morning. On February 14th of this year, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School was thrown under a spotlight of which they wanted no part. On that day, 14 students and 3 teachers entered a building designed for a learning and creative community in which they did not leave. The lives were taken were those of teenagers who will never be able to live their lives to the full potential they should have been granted. The 3 teachers who passed that day put their students' well-being before theirs. 13 other school shootings have occurred in the United States in 2018. The saddest part of all, the majority of these could have been prevented. On average, there are 53,000 firearms purchased daily in the U.S. A large amount of these weapons are being put in the hands of the mentally ill or those with malicious intentions. Going to school shouldn't be something to fear. School should be a safe, welcoming environment, not one to fear the idea of a shooter. In today's day and age, America is divided with politics, but it does not have to be a political issue. We all need to put the lives of our peers, teachers, and administrators before our political views. We need to stop standing around and throwing out suggestions. We need to act now. All of the students in this room are potential voices of the future. You can either take this opportunity to make a change in the world, or you can continue to let things stay the way they are. Your voice matters. If you believe in something, make sure everybody knows it. Stand up for what you think is right, and don't let people tell you you're too young to make a change, because they're wrong. Florida State Representative Elizabeth Porter went on a tangent just a few days ago, degrading adolescents who spoke out against gun laws, saying, "Are there any children making laws? The adults make the laws because we have age. We have the wisdom. We have the experience to make these laws. We have to make laws with our head and not our emotions." Not only are these statements pessimistic and degrading, they just aren't true. You have a voice. You can make a difference. Do whatever it takes to allow your voice to be heard. Contact representatives, legislators, congressmen, and women. Don't go unheard. Thank you.
Today, we are here to remember all the lives lost to gun violence in schools. We are here to stand together and recognize the recent tragedy at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. We are going to take the time today to recognize each of the 17 lives lost in this disheartening event. Next, we would like to hold a call to action. It is very important that we, as a student body, come together and take action in supporting the efforts of the students of Stoneman Douglas and to fight with them in this battle against gun violence. I think everyone can agree that school is not a place to fear for your life. It is a place where we should feel safe, learn, and make memories. We cannot live in fear. We need to be the change and make this happen. Over the next few weeks, we are going to propose some changes to eliminate these fears. We all agree that being here in this gym is one step in the right direction. It is important that all our voices are heard. This is where the Parkland for Parkland movement begins. It is about what we do when we leave this room and how we will each seek change and enact change in our community.
We come together to show our condolences to the 17 lives lost and the countless lives that have been changed forever. We are also here to demand action, to speak up for our beliefs. I've gotten to know so many outstanding young adults throughout this school, and I see so much opportunity for us all to achieve great things. I encourage you all to stand up for what you believe in, just like we are all doing today. Every day, politicians decide on the laws of our country, often without any regard for the opinions of the youth. Most of us cannot vote. Too often our voices are not heard. It is up to us to have a voice in society. Speak up for what you believe in. Never stop striving to see the change that you wish to see in the world. About a month ago, my sister Kylie and I started a campaign selling Parkland for Parkland wristbands to provide financial aid to the families of the Florida shooting victims. We've now raised over $10,000 and we're not finished. Please support the cause and buy a wristband at lunch or in the rotunda when leaving school today. I encourage each of you to do whatever you can to support any cause that you are passionate about and make a difference in this world. Thank you.
Right now, across the country, over 200,000 students and teachers are walking out of their classes. We've disrupted the school day and walked out of class to give a voice to those who no longer have one because of senseless gun violence. Our goal today is to honor the lives lost due to gun violence, specifically those involved in the Parkland, Florida shooting, which took place exactly 1 month ago. We're demanding reform and legislative change from our government to ensure these tragedies do not continue. During this walkout, we will have a few student speakers talk about pressing issues related to gun violence in America. We will say a few words about each Parkland, Florida victim, and will show a video sent from Marjorie Stoneman Douglas students to us. We, the class officers, spent a lot of time trying to make this walkout as productive and as safe as possible. We are aware most of you wanted to be outside today, but we think where we congregate doesn't matter as long as we are all here together, demonstrating support for Parkland, Florida, and joining this student-run nationwide movement to end these horrific shootings. Recently, the outspoken survivors of the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas shooting have prompted lawmakers to address the issue of gun violence. And because of this, laws in Florida have been passed to prevent it. There is no reason our protest and the protests of other schools cannot have a similar influence. Our age does not limit our impact, and we hope this gathering inspires you to take action in the fight for our lives.
Hey Parkland High School, my name is Daniel Duff, and I am a survivor of the shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School on February 14, 2018. My cousins Colin and Kylie Duff, who both attend your school, are selling wristbands that say Parkland for Parkland as a fundraiser for my school. On that Valentine's Day, 17 people were killed, 7 of those people being my friends. No one should ever have to experience what 3,000 of my peers and I did. No one should ever have to sit in that closet without their phone to tell people that they were okay, feeling completely helpless as they could hear the shots that killed and injured so many of their classmates like I did. February 14th started out like any other day. It was my dad's birthday, so we celebrated before school. When I got there, everyone looked unusually happy. Every couple was together, students were walking around with balloons and chocolates. I clearly remember seeing a smile on almost everyone's face. I couldn't even imagine what my life would be like 7 hours from now. Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School is on block schedule, meaning that we have an A day and a B day. We have 4 periods a day, each class lasting 90 minutes long. That day was an A day. If it had been a B day, I would have been in the 1200 building where the attacks took place, and there would have been a chance that I would have not have been here talking to you now. We had a fire drill in 2nd period. After that, I ate lunch, went to 3rd period, and then to 4th. My 4th period is drama, and we happened to be working on the spring musical, which I was playing the music for. The 2nd fire drill rang, and everyone was pretty annoyed because we had already had one that day, so we grudgingly went outside. Just as I was getting out of my seat, I heard a loud bang, and a man yelling to go back inside. The ones that had already went outside ran back in, and we all took refuge in the back closet. Fortunately, the room was very large, but 75 kids in a closed space could eat up a room quickly. My teacher took attendance while kids were hyperventilating, and others were trying to calm down their peers. I used my friend's phone to text my mom that there's a shooting, but I'm going to be okay. The next 2 hours were a blur of kids crying and loud bangs outside the classroom door. Finally, we heard glass shatter outside, and a voice yelling, "This is the SWAT team, we are coming in." The next thing I knew, I was running through the halls of a crime scene that used to just be my school, with my hands in the air while being aimed at by helicopters and the SWAT team. We had a break from school lasting about 3 weeks. I had stayed relatively strong throughout the break, so the only thing I could do was be there for my friends who were. Lots of Parkland citizens and I went on a trip to our state capital in Tallahassee. There, we talked to state senators and representatives about gun laws and what we can do to help students feel safe at their schools. Going back to school was tough. The Sunday before we went back, our principal held an orientation-type gathering where we could walk around the school and retrieve any of the personal belongings we may have left there. I got my phone back, which I left at the school. I opened it to some 300 texts from people asking me if I was okay that I could not respond to. We returned that Wednesday, and the entire time all of the students were hugging and were generally excited to see their fellow survivor. 2nd day back was terrible. In every class I had, there were multiple people in tears. The overall mood that day was extremely solemn, and it will always be in my memory. Now, we are somewhat getting back into a routine and doing minimal work. The recovery is very difficult, but even more so. The feeling of helplessness and guilt I was feeling during those 2 hours were the worst feelings I've ever felt. This is why I joined the #NeverAgain movement as soon as I possibly could. The Never Again movement is completely student-run, and we have accomplished a lot so far, including an extremely strong media presence and a march called March for Our Lives that is taking place in lots of major cities and Washington, D.C. on March 24th. Everyone has a way of coping with loss, and I think a great way to do that is to take a stand and have a voice for those who don't have one. Common sense gun control laws need to be acted on, and everybody can help. How many more mass shootings does it have to take for real change? Parkland High School, you can help. We encourage everyone who is of age to pre-register to vote. Also, you can show your support by going to our March on Washington, or you can find a march near you. Every person counts. The time for change is long overdue. We are the generation that will create a better and safer future for our students. Thank you, and remember, be positive, be passionate, and be proud to be an Eagle. We are MSD Strong.
Thank you, Daniel, for providing us that video. We will now honor each of the 17 victims of the shooting. Alyssa Aladef, student, 14 years old. Alyssa wanted to become a lawyer as well as a professional soccer player, according to her mother, Lori. She was a member of the school's Parkland Soccer Club and described as beautiful, smart, and talented. The soccer club posted this tribute on Facebook. Alyssa Aladef was a loved and well-respected member of our club and community. Alyssa will be greatly missed. Our thoughts and prayers go out to her family and all the other families of this tragic event.
Scott Beagle, geography teacher and cross-country coach, 35 years old. Scott Beagle was one of several adults at the school who died while protecting students from streams of gunfire. Scott was shot and killed when he unlocked his classroom door in order to allow students to take refuge from the gunman. He was mortally wounded while trying to relock the door.
Martin Duke Anguiano, student, 14 years old. Martin was described as a very funny kid, outgoing and sometimes really quiet, in a description posted by his older brother, Miguel. Miguel also paid tribute to his brother on Instagram, stating, "Words cannot describe my pain. I love you, brother. Martin, you'll be missed, buddy. I know you're in a better place. Duke's forever, man. I love you, Junior. Rest in peace, Martin Duke." The caption was accompanied by a photo of Martin.
Nicholas Dworet, student, 17 years old. Nicholas was a swimmer at the school who had committed to competing at the college level at the University of Indianapolis at the beginning of February. He was named by the local newspaper a second-team all-county swimmer in Broward County for his 100-yard freestyle time. His brother Alexander was grazed by a bullet in the back of his head. In a statement made on Friday, Nicholas's family said that he dreamed of making the Olympic swim team and going to the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo. He believed that he could accomplish anything as long as he tried his best.
Aaron Feiss, assistant football coach and security guard, 37 years old. Aaron Feiss died while using his body to shield students from bullets as the gunman opened fire. Broward County Sheriff Scott Israel, a personal friend of Aaron Feiss, noted that the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School alum and former football player was a beloved protector of those in the community. When Aaron Feiss died, he was killed tragically, inhumanely. He did it protecting others. You can guarantee that, because that's who Aaron Feiss was. Israel said, "The kids in this community loved him. They adored him. He was one of the greatest people I knew. He was a phenomenal man."
Jamie Gutenberg, student, 14 years old. Jamie Gutenberg was a dancer who was described as the life of the party during a statement made by her father, Fred, at a candlelight vigil. "My heart is broken. Yesterday, Jennifer Bloom Gutenberg and I lost our baby girl to a violent shooting at her school. We lost our daughter, and my son Jesse Gutenberg lost his sister. I am broken as I write this, trying to figure out how my family gets through this," Fred wrote in a Facebook post that was also made on Thursday. Gutenberg's Facebook page has been made into a memorialized account and features photos of her posing with friends and family.
Christopher Hickson, athletic director, wrestling coach, and security specialist, 49 years old. Christopher Hickson attended Easton High School in Easton, PA through 10th grade and graduated from Pleasant Valley High School in Broadheadsville, PA. Hickson came from a family with an extensive background in the military and served in the U.S. Navy. He also was a huge influence on the school's wrestling team and was killed while patrolling the school's campus as part of his job as security specialist. Douglas wrestler Carlos Valentin described the impact that Hickson had on his wrestlers in a statement made to the Sun Sentinel. "Coach Hickson, for me, was a father figure," said Valentin, a senior heavyweight. "We were pretty much with him 6 days a week, 3 to 4 to 5 hours. His loss was just terrible."
Luke Hoyer, student, 15 years old. Luke's grandparents, who lived in South Carolina, described him as a good kid who never got in trouble. Others described Luke as always smiling, happy, and noted that his laugh was contagious. His uncle, Tony Brownlee, also posted about his death on Facebook. "This has devastated our family, and we're all in shock and disbelief. Our hearts are broken. Luke was a beautiful human being and was greatly loved."
Kara Loughran, student, 14 years old. Kara was a beach lover and dancer at the Douglas School of Irish Dance, whose death was felt deeply by her aunt, Lindsay Fontana. This morning, I had to tell my 8-year-old daughters that their sweet cousin Kara was killed in the shooting at Stoneman Douglas High School yesterday. We are absolutely gutted. Fontana wrote in a Facebook post, "While your thoughts are appreciated, I beg you to do something. This should not have happened to our niece Kara, and it cannot happen to other people's families." According to the Baltimore Sun, Loughran's death was also felt by Baltimore Ravens running back Alex Collins, who received Irish dance training at the Drake School in Florida. Loughran was one of 3 dancers at the school who also attended Douglas.
Gina Montalto, student, 14 years old. Gina's family described her as a hardworking student with a keen sense of humor who melted each heart with an infectious smile that lit up a room. She was a kind spirit, always eager to lend a helping hand, the family said in a statement. Gina will be missed not only by her family, but by everyone whose life she touched. Gina was also a member of the Douglas Winter Guard on school state champion marching band, which was scheduled to perform at a regional competition in Tampa on Saturday, according to a local newspaper. The Winter Guard's instructor, Manuel Miranda, wrote a Facebook post about Montalto on Wednesday. "My heart is broken into pieces. I will forever remember you, my sweet angel," Miranda wrote.
Joaquin Oliver, student, 17 years old. Joaquin was a hip-hop and sports lover who became a naturalized American citizen in January 2017, after moving to the United States from Venezuela at the age of 3, according to the local newspaper. Because students often had difficulty pronouncing his name, Oliver went by the nickname Guac, short for guacamole. He's just a goofball. He's the only kid you'd know that would dye his hair bleach blonde, walk around school, put some tiger stripes in, and just be unique. He was a unique soul, said Tyra Hemmons, 19, who said she had been friends with Oliver since freshman year.
Elena Petty, student, 14 years old. Elena was a member of the junior ROTC program and part of the Helping Hands program at her church. Elena was extremely devoted to her local community, and in a statement made by her family via the Latter-day Saints Living publication, they said, "It is important to sum up all that Elena was and meant to her family and friends." The statement said, "Elena was a vibrant and determined young woman, loved by all who knew her. Elena loved to serve."
Meadow Polak, student, 18 years old. According to her cousin, Jake Massiner, Meadow was the youngest member of her family and enjoyed spending time with her family, local newspapers report. Meadow was described as a lovely young lady who was full of energy. Meadow was accepted to and had planned on attending Lynn University in Boca Raton after she graduated.
Helena Ramsey, student, 17 years old. Her relative, Curtis Page Jr., posted on Facebook that Helena was a smart, kind-hearted, and thoughtful person. She was deeply loved and loved others even more so. Though she was somewhat reserved, she had a relentless motivation towards her academic studies. And her soft, warm demeanor brought the best out in all who knew her. She was so brilliant and witty, and I'm still wrestling with the idea that she's actually gone. Page also noted that Helena was planning on going to college next year.
Alexander Schachter, student, 14 years old. According to a GoFundMe page set up by Schachter's family in the wake of his death, Schachter played the trombone and baritone as a member of Douglas Marching Band and Orchestra. The page had become a scholarship account for other band members. Schachter's family stated on the page that he was a sweetheart of a kid and survived by his heartbroken parents, 3 siblings, grandparents, and countless cousins, aunts, uncles, and friends.
At this time, 10 a.m., we will observe a moment of silence for the 17 lives lost at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida on February 14, 2018. Thank you.
Carmen Shentrup, student, 16 years old. Last September, Carmen was named one of 53 National Merit Scholarship semifinalists in the country. She was one of 10 Douglas students to qualify, according to the Eagle Eye, their student-run news magazine. Carmen was also a piano student who had performed on Saturday at Broward College for the South Florida Music Teachers Association at the Spring Festival.
Peter Wang, student, 15 years old. Peter was a member of the junior ROTC program at Douglas. His cousin, Aaron Chen, told the Miami Herald that Peter was last seen wearing his uniform, holding the door open so that people could escape. His efforts helped save dozens of lives. Peter wanted to attend the United States Military Academy at West Point. Peter's friend, Gabriel Amarada, told the paper that he was funny, nice, and a great friend. He's been my best friend since 3rd grade. While he never was able to serve in the armed forces, West Point recognized Peter with the Medal of Heroism, the highest honor for ROTC students. In addition, the school gave him a posthumous admission with the class of 2025 attendance letter. Peter was buried wearing the Medal of Heroism and his junior ROTC uniform, the same one that he had worn when he died.
During his last speech before his untimely death, Martin Luther King Jr. professed, "The true measure of a person is not how he or she behaves in moments of comfort and convenience, but how that person stands at times of controversy and challenges." Today, almost 50 years later, we as a student body demand our voices be echoed throughout the community. We need to take this opportunity to voice our opinions on several controversial matters, including how to make ourselves and our peers safe. It is important that you are comfortable in school. Think right now about 3 adults in this school that you feel comfortable speaking to. Who would you turn to if you feel threatened? Who would you turn to if you were concerned about somebody else? Who would you turn to if you had no other choice? Your teachers want to help. They want to make you feel safe and will do whatever they need to ensure your safety. Asking for help can be scary, and I understand that you don't want to be a snitch. Nobody wants to be that someone. But if nobody is that someone, then everybody's safety is compromised. We are fortunate to have resources in this school that we can turn to in times of fear and worry. Mrs. Fitch from the Students Assistance Program can be reached in room B108. Anonymous lockboxes can be found in the upper C wing and by the stairs descending into the gym. You can use these boxes to voice your concerns about fellow students or about yourself. We have not 1, but 2 school psychologists whose only focus is to help you. Mrs. McCall and Mrs. Chappelle are more than willing to help you, and you should not feel scared to turn to them. Officer Bammer is another resource that ensures our safety every day. He has the skills and the assets to keep us safe every time we walk through these doors. We want them to know that we appreciate their time and their commitment to keeping us safe. But we must do more. Us being here right now is showing that we, as students, want change. The change starts here, with you. Speak up when you see something that makes you feel uneasy. Tell an adult when you're struggling to cope with your emotions. Be the voice you want to hear in your community. We have over 3,000 voices in this school, and every single one matters. Not one of these voices should go unheard, and our administration wants to hear what you have to say. If we all do our part in making this school as safe as possible, then we are closing the gaps that other schools have been unable to close. There have been over 10 shootings in 2018, and I can only name about 5. Each one of these shootings is extremely important, but it has become such a regular occurrence that we've gotten into a rhythm of offering our condolences, mourning the losses, and then moving on. But now, we are offering something much more than our sympathy. We are offering our voices, and we are demanding that changes be made. We need to make sure that these headlines do not become the regular. It starts here and in every other school across America. I realize that as students, there are some things that are out of our control. We cannot make laws, but we all have a voice, and if we speak up for what we believe in, we will see positive change. As Emma Gonzalez, a survivor of the Parkland, Florida shooting said, "We are speaking up for those who don't have anyone listening to them, for those who can't talk about it just yet, and for those who will never speak again."
My name is Jordan Costello. I'm 15 years old and I'm a sophomore at Parkland High School. I protest because I feel that our school could be next. We are victims, we are students, we are change.
My name is Addie Kirchner. I'm a freshman, and I believe you should stand up for what you believe in. We may be young, but we won't be silenced. So use your voice, because after all, we are the next politicians, presidents, and educators.
Hi, good morning. My name is Alexi Madero.
And I'm Iman Habib.
We're here today for the same reason we hope all of you are.
Let me be quite honest. I'm lost for words at this point. What should I say? What is left to say? The death of 17 innocent high school individuals is not something we can easily speak upon.
Families are being torn apart. Futures are being stolen. Lives are being lost. But we must ensure that they are not forgotten. The most powerful way we can remember the victims is by urging for the change that could have prevented these horrific events.
Some may say this is the time to mourn for these children instead of pushing for anti-gun legislation, which we completely understand. Of course we should commemorate the victims as well as the survivors. But how long should that remembering period be? 6 years?
Because it was 6 years ago when 20 elementary school children and 6 teachers were murdered by the hand of a gun at Sandy Hook.
Maybe 11 years.
That's when a total of 32 lives were lost during the Virginia Tech shooting.
What about 18 years?
Because that was the time of Columbine, 12 students and 1 teacher. How long exactly is this waiting period? When is enough really enough? When do we speak up? When an event similar to Parkland, Florida occurs in Parkland High School?
When it is your classmate, your teacher, your friend, one of your family members? The tragedy of Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School is yet another reminder that inaction is unacceptable.
By remaining silent, we display apathy instead of empathy. We betray those who were killed. As Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter.
In order to seize the silence, education is crucial. Lack of involvement or individual action is often due to misinformation or absence of knowledge on a particular issue.
Excluding gang violence and terrorism, from 2000 to 2014, the U.S. has had more mass shootings in public places than Germany, Canada, Finland, Australia, Norway, Switzerland, England, and France combined. Gun violence is a uniquely American problem among the developed world. But this is not a political issue. It is an issue that speaks upon our morality and our humanity.
Look, This is not about red and blue, Republicans and Democrats, liberals and conservatives, blacks and whites, male and female, old and young. This is about coming together and tackling a problem each one of us could potentially be the victim of.
No matter your race, age, gender, religion, political identification, we all share a similar trait. We're all human. And as long as we allow the current accessibility to firearms to remain in effect, we are all threatened by gun violence. This is about human safety and protecting human life.
We sincerely hope you are here today because you believe in the movement, you recognize there is a problem, and you are aware that you have the power to fix it. If you're here to skip class, postpone a test, or simply because you can relax or sleep this period, then honestly, shame on you. Because this is not the time to rest or sleep. This is the time to wake up and do something.
We have the power to change the course of our nation. In this room sit our future doctors, engineers, artists, musicians, athletes, lawyers, technicians, our future legislators, our future activists. You and I, the person to your left and right, behind and in front of you, we are the future.
It is our generation that is responsible for pressuring our legislators to take action, so no student will attend school with a chance of not returning home because they were shot.
You may feel that your individual voice doesn't matter or will not enact change, but together, we are extremely loud. Together, our efforts cannot and will not go unheard, and together, our screams for help and our calls for change will not go ignored.
With that being said, we leave you with a quote from Mahatma Gandhi. Be the change that you wish to see in the world.
To ensure no child is held victim to an assault weapon and something like this happens never again.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Nolan Coleman. I am 16 years old and a sophomore here at Parkland High School. I am protesting because I strongly believe that we as a country and as a family can rise up and make clear and positive systematic changes in the way we handle gun violence in the United States. We are bombarded by stories of guns causing major violence worldwide. This is making us all repeat offenders since we hear about these horrific shootings and invariably do absolutely nothing about it. CNN states that the government has never defined mass shooting as a standalone category. Let's go with the most commonly accepted definition from the Congressional Research Service. A mass shooting is when a gunman kills 4 or more people, selects victims randomly, and attacks in a public place. CNN also states that of the 30 deadliest shootings in the United States dating back to 1949, 18 have occurred in the last 10 years. Last year, according to the Gun Violence Archive, there were approximately 307 mass shootings in total from January 1st to November 5th. That averages to almost 7 mass shootings a week. CNBC additionally reports that the first 2 months in 2018, there have been 18 school shootings, including the Parkland attack. These raw statistics are exceedingly scary. As you can see, the frequency of mass shootings are increasing. You never know, it could be your church, your school, your concert, or movie theater. Now that we have our statistics and realize we have a serious problem in the United States pertaining to gun violence, what are we going to do about it? What happened in Parkland, Florida is what no one should ever have to go through, especially people our age. Continually bringing tears to my eyes while watching students pour out their emotions of sadness and grief towards friends, families, and teachers all over the media. I strongly applaud and admire the Parkland, Florida students for starting a revolution and inspiring many towards making changes for the safety of others. It truly shows you that anyone can make a difference in this world. We are victims, we are students, we are change. Thank you.
Today, we find ourselves in a situation we know all too well. 17 precious lives lost, frozen in time by an assassin's bullet. They were teachers and students who were athletes and musicians, who held promising futures in academics, in the military, and in pro sports. Yet the brightness of their futures has now been extinguished, along with their dreams of success, love, and happiness. Their names were Scott, Alyssa, Martin and Nicholas, Aaron, Jamie, Christopher, Luke, Kara, Gina, Joaquin, Elena, Meadow, Helena, Alex, Carmen, and Peter. And although we may not feel a personal connection to each student, I want you to consider this. What if one of those students was your best friend, your younger brother, or your cousin? What would you do? How would that make you feel? And we ask ourselves, why doesn't anything happen as a result of these massacres? Where is the change we so desire? And what can we do this time to ensure that there is no next time? In the past month, our community and our nation has been engaged in an intense and productive discussion, a discussion of mental health awareness, school safety, and curbing the threat of gun violence, all of which are essential to making these horrific incidents an occurrence of the past. But today, I'd like to mention a topic that isn't discussed often or hardly at all. How do we, as students, help each other within our school? You know, it's unfortunate that a lot of these young shooters turn to violence as a coping mechanism because they are neglected by their peers and by their family. I challenge you to reach out to the neglected, to the lost, and to the lonely. Open up lines of communication between yourselves because you might not only be saving their life, you might be saving yours as well. So today, I say to you, in the midst of grief and darkness, congratulations for the work that you've done in the past month and for the work we will accomplish together in the months ahead. And as I stand before you today in awe and amazement at the amount of energy in this room, I can definitively say, without a doubt in my mind, never again. We will always remember those lives lost in Florida, but let's turn our grief into action, because this time, it's our lives at stake. Thank you.
On the back of your palm cards, we have provided a list of legislators and their contact information for you. All of these legislators were voted into office to represent us, whether that be our parents, our teachers, or our student body. If you do not agree with something that has been said or done, or lack thereof, it's your job to let them know. As students, we have a right to feel safe in school. Do you all feel safe? We want our legislators to know that we need their help in making our school a place to learn, not to fear for our lives. But you must realize that just being here in this gym is not enough. This is not where the movement starts and stops. The Parkland for Parkland movement is just beginning here and can only continue with your help. Looking in the stands, I see a lot of people who want change. The changes you want to see can only be made by making sure our legislators know that student safety is not something that should be compromised. Tweet at these legislators with the hashtags Parkland for Parkland, Never Again, and Enough with your opinions. Email them. Use the numbers provided on the backs of those palm cards and demand change. Mike Schlossberg has reached out to us, supporting our Parkland for Parkland movement, and is pushing for our voices to be heard. Gary Day has spoken about arming teachers and how this can potentially benefit the students. Charlie Dent has spoken about how to keep assault weapons out of the hands of the mentally ill and criminals. Pat Toomey has supported tighter background checks for gun purchases. It is your duty to contact these influential people about your views so they can represent students everywhere. Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, author of River of Grass, and the namesake of the most recent mass murder, stated, "Don't think it's enough to just attend meetings and sit there like a lump. It's best to be ready to act intelligently when the appropriate opportunity arises. Speak up. Do your part to inform and stimulate the public to join your action. Be depressed, discouraged, disappointed at failure and the disheartening effects of ignorance, greed, corruption, and bad politics, but never give up." Douglas's quote supports the fact that sitting in this gym is not nearly enough, and you need to speak up and do your part to inform people of our movement. I wonder if she ever imagined that her words would be used in a foreshadowing manner to such a terrible event, supporting this call to action. Using social media as a platform for voicing your opinions and what is happening today can help spread our message throughout the nation, hopefully reaching Parkland, Florida, showing them that we will not forget the lives lost in the tragic incident exactly 1 month ago, and sending this as a message that we are fighting with them. On behalf of your class officers, we would like to thank you for your support of the students of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School for walking out with us today. We appreciate the support from the TV studio and the other volunteers that helped make this event such a success. Another special thank you goes out to all of the students who submitted their videos and to our student speakers today. And now I leave you with another quote from Marjorie Stoneman Douglas herself. You have to stand up for some things in this world.
Thank you all for being with us today. This has been a student-directed program from day one, and I want to compliment all the class officers, the students who participated, submitted essays, videos, our class advisors for trying to do our best to guide the work without creating any impingement or really impact on whatever the students have decided to do. To give you a safe place to express yourselves, to gather on this national issue was obviously very important to all of us as educators. Our goal is to prepare you for the future, to be educated citizens, to be able to speak on issues that you feel are important. You saw that today, and I hope it inspired you. For whatever issue that comes across your plate that's important to you, I hope you understand that the future is in your hands, and you have a responsibility. I hope you feel proud about how you feel about these issues, and that you step forth when needed so that you can represent yourself and your country in the best way. But I do want to thank these individuals. If we can have the officers please rise, and everyone who spoke here today, I do want to express my appreciation. Thank you. And there's also Mr. Sant. I know he's been incredibly involved in supporting this as an administrator. Obviously, a lot of duties to do during the course of the day, and he's been tremendous assistance in helping make sure everything could go off as planned. I want to thank everyone for coming today. This was a great representation of our community, and I hope that you continue the work that is important to you. As young people, the future is yours. We are going to begin with dismissal. If we could have this part of the gymnasium remain here, we're going to dismiss the east side. If we could have the top, please move out first, and we're going to go from the top and exit out through the bottom. People over here, please remain seated. Thank you.